Graphics online.
One of the things I like doing the most when it comes to these builds that I always make is having something that is kind of quirky and fun, unorthodox, and just to bring you guys, the vaqueros, something really cool and fun to try out that is mostly just fun and may or may not be super useful or of course meta, but sometimes those are the most fun guns to use. In this particular build, we're going way off the walls here because we are going to focus on Hipfire with Slugs on the Bryson 800. That's right, who cares about aiming with this build? We don't, we certainly do not. We're going to go for Hipfire accuracy on this bad boy, and we're going to make it work, and I'll show you the build for that, and of course it's going to be a lot of fun, so hopefully you guys stick around. First thing we're going to do is go over the build, so let's go ahead and jump in the gunsmith and I'll show you guys how I kit it out. So here is the build that you want to be using, and there's a few things to note about this thing. First, the grip is an important part of this build, and the one I'm using is the Bruin Warrior grip. You can use this one or the VX Pineapple. Now, the big thing about these is they give you hipfire accuracy as well as hit recoil control, which are really important, and they also, these two particular ones, give you the best benefit to your min and max hipfire spread, which for the Slugs ends up working out really well. So use one of these two grips. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. And the tuning for that, again, don't obsess over these. I said that in my last video. Just go with the hip recoil control and hip fire accuracy. That's a really important attachment. Another really important one is the sawed-off mod, because without it, if we go into game without this thing and you start strafing left and right, you'll notice the hipfire reticle opens up quite a bit, and we don't want that. It can be a little wonky at times, and we don't want it. So to keep it as tight as possible when we move, we need the sawed-off mod or the stockless pistol grip, because when you put that on, we go in game and check it out. You'll see it's a lot better. So you can actually hit fire with this thing a lot more effectively and hit some pretty nasty shots. Just gotta, there we go. So it's a lot of fun, and that's a really important attachment is a sawed-off mod stock. Then for the point G3P laser, we're going to be using that. And this tuning, again, it doesn't obsess over it. This is what I'm using for it. And then we want the Bryson choke. There's the tuning for that. So this is really the way to go to get that tight spread and make sure it doesn't open up so much when we move left and right. Now you can also rock explosive slugs since we're trying to be really close with this build to hip fire. You can do this. It's not going to make a difference. It's only going to really be noticeable if you're trying to kind of snipe people with it. Otherwise, just go with normal slugs. But you can totally rock explosive slugs. It works totally fine with this build. Just be warned, it is a little inconsistent at times, and Bomb Squad can throw it off at times as well. Of course, we are using slugs, so our damage profile has changed now to about that 4.6 meter mark. 180 damage is what you're going to be doing for headshots. No, you can't one-shot headshot. Hopefully soon, maybe we'll be able to if snipers get one-shot headshots, and I hope slugs do. I really hope so. But the only way to get a two-shot kill with this thing is up close and personal is if you hit a stomach and a chest shot, if you hit one headshot and one body shot, or two chest shots in a row, or two headshots, of course. But the real difficulty here is being precise, and you have to be hitting upper chest or definitely be hitting headshots if you're going out far. For instance, if you're hitting that 30-meter mark, you really need to hit one headshot plus two body shots. It can be wherever. As long as you hit one headshot and two body shots, you're going to get a 3-shot kill. But if you're only going out to about that 13-meter mark, you need to be hitting one headshot plus one body shot. So again, headshots are super important. If you're at that 13-meter mark and not hitting a headshot, it's going to take 3 shots. So you can see these are super unforgiving and can be very difficult. So this build, even though it's not really a ranged build, it's still super good. And this is one that you want to be pushing more close range engagements. And in the video, you'll see I do a lot of silly things. I'm not playing super well. I'm just kind of trying to hip fire from really far and just trying to get these hip fire kills to show you guys it really does work. And me personally, I've said it before, I can't hip fire worth a damn. I don't know what it is. I think my sensitivity is just too high, and I always aim down sights with shotguns, so it's weird to hip fire with them. But when I hip fire, I do not hit my shots well. And this is really going to highlight that. And honestly, it might be a pretty humbling experience if you're not pretty good with hip firing. It'll show with this build, but it's nice because it feels like it generally does go where you put your reticle. Of course, you do have to lead your target since the muzzle velocity is really slow. And of course, you do have to aim a little bit higher than the target if you're kind of pushing range too much. But up close, it's really not too bad. You can get 2 shots pretty effectively if you're hip firing. And honestly, it's a lot of fun. It's something different, something to kind of shake up the game for you if you're getting a little bored or waiting for season 4. And honestly, it's just such a fun build. Now, is it the most practical? Of course not. Even for slugs, this is probably not the most practical, but I feel like some of you demons out there are probably really gonna love this build just because it's so goofy, but so effective. And even a sniper rifle can't really play this well when you're just hip firing. I mean, you're trying to no scope a slug shotgun, and this actually works, but for snipers, it doesn't generally work as well as this. So it's a lot of fun, and even in multiplayer, this build could probably do some damn good damage since, well, it's a one-shot kill with slugs for chest and stomach to certain distances, so it might work better in multiplayer. But in Warzone, it's kind of what I've been doing mainly now since multiplayer is just kind of boring me at the moment. This is such a fun build, and I highly recommend you guys using it because, again, it's just something to shake up that meta for you guys and something to just try something new and see how it is. Now, of course, you can use explosive slugs as well, and since you're going to be really pushing up close, you can really get away with it. If you want to try and like hip fire snipe, maybe don't do it, but if you're going to be pushing up close with this build, go ahead and use explosive slugs. It really doesn't matter. You can use either or. The only thing I like to point out is that explosive slugs just feel more inconsistent. That's based off my feel, and they do have a little bit more bloom. They kind of venture off further than normal slugs do, so just keep that in mind if you do use them. But since you're pushing up close, you can use either or, so maybe just go with explosive slugs. It doesn't matter, just choose what you want. But overall, that's just about gonna do it for this video. I know it's a little bit shorter than usual, but there's not a whole lot to go over here other than just try this build out and enjoy it. Try something different and see if you guys can actually make this work like I tried. I didn't have a lot of success with it, but I know a lot of you guys are way better than I am, and you'll probably be able to make quick work of people with this when you're hip firing up close. The big thing here is just to make sure you're getting up close and personal if you're gonna hip fire, but also don't be afraid to just hip fire from a mile away because it's hilarious and it's funny. And honestly, that's one of the big selling points of this build is it kind of works, but it's also just asinine and ridiculous how goofy it is. So you guys got to try it out. Now let me know down below in the comments, what do you think of this build? Is there any ways you'd improve upon it? Is there any other slug shotguns or explosive slugs that we should check out and make a hip fire build for? And with all that being said, guys, I will see you in the next shotgun video.
Enemy soldier incoming.